Hola everybody, I am the teller of tales. I speak for the weak and oppressed. The country Israel has suffered for years being oppressed by the Palestinians. It is clear that the Palestinians are the ones at fault here and should be labeled as terrorists. They bring destructions everywhere and it seems like there is no end to this.
Hold up, let me change my name to the teller of truth right now. It is clear that these are just the propagandas from the media all over the world. The true story that happens is actually quite the opposite. On the very special date of 14 May 1948, Israelis entered Palestine as refugees. But little did the whole world know, the Israelis had begun to slowly claim that Palestine should be theirs. Since then, the Palestinians began to suffer little by little.
Now, let's meet Elijah, a proud Israeli boy whose life seems a little bit too perfect. His parents are working for the Israel Defense Forces. From a very young age, he was taught about how Israelis fought for freedom and how a civilian should feel proud for their country, no matter how deceitful the truth is. This is a story of how a boy uncovered the tainted truth about his country, Israel.
Hey Noah.
Hello Elijah.
Did you know that the courageous IDF soldiers had recently encountered a terrorist attack done by the Palestinian group Hamas? Luckily, our strong IDF soldier managed to kill the filthy Palestinian dogs.
Yes, I heard the same from my father as well. I don't get it. How can those ungrateful animals still have the audacity to attack us while we are the ones who let them live here for free?
I know, right? I hope that those ungrateful dogs die mercilessly at the hands of our undefeatable armies. I want to share this incident with my parents so that they can get revenge for us. Goodbye, Noah. Let's meet here again tomorrow.
I'm gonna do the same too. See you tomorrow, Elijah.
The two best friends ended their play that day to walk to their homes and plan to avenge the Palestinians, not realizing the reality they are living at the moment.
Father!
Yes, my dear. What does my little prince want?
Father, what do you think about the recent incident where our soldiers killed those dogs yesterday?
Yes, Elijah, finally, our defense forces killed those ungracious Palestinians. They are always trying to destroy our country. I don't really know what's their purpose in doing that, because they are too weak to do anything. They are still alive up to this day, thanks to us, not their God.
Yes, Father. When I grow up someday, I will follow your footsteps, serving the country. You are forever my hero. I want to kill those ungrateful Palestinian pigs that are living in our country rent-free and still think of opposing us. All hail Israel!
Fast forward into the future, Elijah furthers his study in London and he still holds the same pride he has as an Israeli. He is now the president for the Israeli Student Union at University of London. Then comes the dark day, where everything's about to change. It is a fortnight after the bombing incident between Hamas and the IDF occurred.
Look at that, Noah! What is the crowd doing there?
Yes, what is happening there? Why is the flag of that filthy country being held up high right now on this campus?
I think those idiots are protesting and putting all the blame on us, based on the incident where our brave IDF soldier bombed those pigs. They should know the real story behind the incident. They are the one who started it, not us. We are just protecting our land against terrorists. We are the ones suffering, not them. Damn those Palestinians.
Yes, they should know the real story and not just blindly believe the propaganda made by the terrorists.
How can this happen? Our country has been framed. Let's do our best and try to clear our country's reputation. This is so that we can tell the whole world the truth. Let's do a thorough research first to collect the evidence.
Elijah becomes increasingly curious about a country he never cares for. He wants to conduct research on his own. In that same evening, He rushed to the library to gather some information about his homeland to counter the Palestine-Israel conflicts. As he is researching, he realized that he has never tried to dig up the whole truth on his own. He just believed in what his parents had fed him with throughout his life.
How can this be? I can't believe that my parents were lying through their teeth all this time. This whole time, I was truly convinced that we are the real owner of the land, not those Palestinians. Throwing rocks at them while they're doing nothing, spitting right at their face, and not giving them some food while they're starving, when it is all us, Israeli, who have been living there rent-free. Oh my, I feel so guilty. I thought that our country is on the right side of the history. However, it is clear now that the things we did all this time were just producing more merciless, cruel, and disastrous Israelis. We are indeed the problem here, not the Palestinians. I can't let this be. Someone has to make things right. It is time for me to be that person.
Elijah's heart was beating 1,000 miles a minute as he discovered the bitter truth. Who would have thought the proud Israeli boy was slapped across the face with the facts, the actual facts this time? He was humbled to his knees when he found out that Israel had been the perpetrator all this time.
You can't let this be, Elijah. You have to tell them the truth. Or do they actually already know the truth? There might be a possibility of this happening. This is because mom and dad both work for the IDF. Yup, thinking about the fact once again, they definitely know about this.
Hello, my sweet little boy. How are you doing, Elijah? Did you hear how our soldiers bombed those Palestinians?
What, mom? What are you going to call them this time? Dogs, pigs, or terrorists?
What's wrong, Elijah?
I know it all, mom.
Know what all?
All of the stories. The stories about our soldiers. All of the tears that I have shed could flood an ocean of sorrow. How they're called the heroes of our country. But I know now. I know that it was all lies. They're not protecting our country. They're just destroying the life of the real owner of the land.
Where did you hear all this nonsense?
The whole world is talking about us. How we act like the land is ours when it is in fact theirs. How we can have the nerve to do all the things we did. The soldiers forcing them to strip naked while having their hands cuffed and legs tied for hours. Not only that, they even stepped on the Palestinians' heads just so that they could feel some fun. These are definitely too much, Mom. All we did are nothing more than dehumanizations and massacres.
Elijah hangs up the phone. He sits alone in frustration as he reflects on himself. Elijah decides to be one of the protesters to support Palestine. He joined various protests to show his full support for Palestine, even though he is an Israeli. He met a few people along the protesting journey and exchanged thoughts and opinions regarding the Palestine-Israel conflict. The strangers he met on random roads unexpectedly became closer and closer towards him. As time went by, all of them became best buddies and Elijah had made a lot of great friends.
I can't believe Israel continues its disgusting act of occupying Palestinian territories. It's a gross violation of human rights.
I concur with you. Israel's actions are indefensible. And as Jews, we should be standing in solidarity with the Palestinian people.
However, I still feel guilty to turn my back against our homeland. No matter how rotten it is, we are still Israelis. Sometimes I wonder why the Palestinians keep on choosing violence when they had countless golden opportunities for peace.
Violence? Have you seen the excessive force Israel used against Palestinian civilians? It's state-sponsored terrorism.
Exactly. Israel's so-called self-defense is nothing but a smokescreen for the systematic oppression and ethnic cleansing of the Palestinian people.
That's absurd. Don't you think Israel has a right to defend itself against Hamas rockets and terrorist attacks?
And Palestinians have a right to resist occupation and oppression. It's called self-determination.
Israel's policies are not justifiable. We can't turn a blind eye to the suffering of the Palestinian people just because we are Jewish. If you disagree with all of this, why are you here then?
I don't know. I just don't think it is right to sit back and do nothing while there are people suffering out there.
Yes, security and sovereignty at the expense of Palestinian life, that's not the Judaism I was raised with. We should be advocating for justice and equality for all, not just for ourselves.
I agree. It's time for us to speak out against Israel's occupation and apartheid policies and stand in solidarity with the Palestinian struggle for freedom and dignity.
After their son had suddenly disappeared for a few months, they stumbled upon a post on social media regarding a protest supporting Palestine. They are flabbergasted to see their beloved son being a part of the protest. They are fuming with anger and are determined to teach their son a lesson.
Yes, Mom. Why did you call? Wait, are you okay?
Shut up, Elijah. We saw you. I never knew that our family had a snake in the bloodline. You joined the useless protest supporting Palestine in London, right?
Yes. And excuse me, I'm not a traitor. I'm just fighting for what is right. And let me tell you, the protest is not useless. Not any protest against Israel in this world we live is useless. At least now, the whole world knows the truth, including me, the one that has been blinded by you, as blind as a bat.
You are one ungrateful bastard. Your father and I raised you for nothing. How can this be? This should not happen at all. You did not appreciate all the things that we did for you. I am going to give you one last chance. Quit joining the protest and quit spreading false information about Israel, or we are going to disown you.
Elijah thinks for a few seconds.
Mom, I am still going to be your son no matter what. Even if you disown me, you can't change the fact that you gave birth to me. Nobody can. However, I still stand by my belief that we Israelis had wronged the Palestinians. We stripped them of their rights and it is our responsibility to make things right again. So please excuse me, I have a country to save. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Goodbye, Mom.
Elijah decides to make things right and wants to correct the wrong things that had been done by his ancestor all this while towards the innocent people of Palestine. He knows that going on protests will not change anything easily, but he still thinks that it is better to do something rather than just keeping our mouth and eyes shut. A few months later, Elijah is now a volunteer in Gaza. He put his heart out to help the unfortunate Palestinians. One day, Elijah is given the responsibility to distribute food to the starving Palestinian children. On his way back, Gaza is unexpectedly attacked by Israeli debris, and Elijah unfortunately is at the bombing scene. He went missing, and when medical aides searched for him, they witnessed a heartbreaking scene where they saw a man with a volunteer's vest under the rubble.
Land to the sea, Palestine will be free.
Fast forward to a few years later, Elijah is seen walking the streets of a better Palestine with his spouse and son. He is now a revert as he chose to embrace Islam. Elijah raised his child to be an empathetic human being and one that always fights for justice. He is proud that he's able to unbrainwash himself and break the chain of deception for his descendants against Palestine. At the end of the day, Elijah successfully grasps his happy ending.